If you follow my channel for any amount of time, you know my favorite gimbal for a long time was the Fiutech G6 Max. And I say favorite gimbal, I mean hybrid gimbal. Hybrid gimbals are the kind that will hold small mirrorless cameras, but also large iPhone rigs. Now that was until the Crane M3 came along. The Crane M3 overtook the G6 Max for me because the main thing that I look for in a gimbal is how much weight it will hold, how smooth it is, and of course how much it costs. Now, Fiutech has a new gimbal that may just replace both these for me. The Fiutech Scorp Mini. So this gimbal was actually released several months ago via Kickstarter, and I've had it for a while, but I didn't want to do a video about it until it was released widely. And now it is. You can get it on Amazon or B&H. The gimbal comes with the normal stuff you expect these days. Of course, the gimbal, a tripod, some quick release plates, a phone holder, and then it also comes with a bunch of accessories. This is cool if you're using different mirrorless cameras, different cables to connect it to your camera. And it also has other ways to connect to action cameras, etc. And it even has an optional lens holder in case you're using a larger lens on your mirrorless camera. The payload capacity on this is 2.65 pounds, and so that's pretty good. I call these hybrid gimbals, and this is comparable to its predecessor, the G6 Max. It's a nice payload, however, the problem you run into with smartphones is they're top heavy. And so I'm going to cut to the chase and say that this does not work well with larger cages such as the Beast Cage. Now it does work okay with lighter cages like the small rig cage. If you're just putting your phone on there with no cage, it's no problem. But one note about the included phone mount. This is the same one or very similar to the one that came with its predecessor, and I didn't really like it either. It stretches out plenty far, but then the lip is not good, especially on bigger phones. So if you want to use one of these with just the phone, I suggest getting a third-party one like this from Ulanzi. You can see how much bigger the lip is. I did have trouble using a quick release as well. It seems to raise the phone up too high and makes it top heavy. Didn't have this trouble with the G6 Max, nor do I have that issue with the Crane M3. If you watch my channel at all, you know I like using quick releases. This makes working with gimbals and tripods, etc. much smoother and easier to do. I like how you can quickly access the auto tuning or the calibration on the screen, the touch screen here. And I typically do this whenever I change the phone, or in other words, the weight, whether I'm switching cameras or putting a different cage on or what have you. While it's nice as this is a touch screen, it's not super sensitive. You can see here I'm having to swipe multiple times to get it to go back. I do like the charging display though. And of course, having easy access to the main settings is very nice. And so just a quick comparison between the two. This is the original G6 Max, and then this is the new Scorp Mini. Very different design, obviously. This has this scoop type handle, and this is a traditional gimbal. It's much smaller too, just the whole size of it. The tripod, the mount itself. You can see how much bigger the new one is than this. But surprisingly, this holds about the same amount, 2.5 to 3 pound range. One big difference too is this has a much larger screen here, and it's a touch screen, This has a little bitty screen that just had information on it. You had to use the joystick to go through it. And then here is the Crane M3. This looks similar to the G6 Max. However, it is even bulkier in a good way, more heavy duty feeling. The gimbal itself is also larger. And then this will actually hold a larger cage, such as the B-Script cage. I used this gimbal to shoot my short film pre-owned, and that was actually adding a heavy anamorphic lens from B-Script. So a big design difference, but it doesn't necessarily mean you're gonna get more capacity. So I know these are different, but they are pretty much competition in this hybrid gimbal space. And so which one should you get? Well, if you're doing more heavy setups like using a beast cage or even the small rig cage with lenses, etc., I think the M3 is the way to go. This one, of course, won't even hold the beast cage, at least not in my experience. If you're using a mirrorless camera or an action camera, they both work fine. This one is cool because you can go into low mode or flashlight mode, and then you have control with two hands. I do like that. And you control the screen with your thumb here, but it's not as robust. And if you're using a smartphone only, either one of these will work. But if you're doing smartphone only, then these are probably kind of bulky, and I would go with a smartphone only gimbal like the DJI OM5 or 6 or the Smooth 5. And then there's also this gimbal that I reviewed recently from Moza, the Aircross S. It also fits in here with these guys, although it's not as robust again as the Crane M3. And now DJI just released the RS3 Mini. I don't have that gimbal, but it looks like it's very similar to these and a similar price point as well. So in the end, it also just depends on which ecosystem you prefer. A lot of people like Zhiyun, a lot of people like Fayutech, and then of course DJI is popular too. So it's really up to you, but out of these two gimbals right here, I would still go with the Crane M3, especially if you like to use heavier setup. But if not, the Scorp Mini works fine. Thanks for watching. This is Blake Calhoun. Please like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.